Hello, this is Austin, and welcome to Friday Night Shudder. And another change from protocol, because I said I was going to be recapping Black Lake this week, and be honest, it's Thursday, and I can't be bothered, which ties in with something I'll be announcing in next week's episode, but that's for then. So I'd just like to say hello. It's been a long week here in Friday Night Shudderland. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm very tired. I'm very worn out. And right now I'm walking. And those who recap last week's episode with me will obviously know that it was focused around Black Lake episode 6. But really with more a case of me drinking and doing very little. And this week's episode is going to be exactly the same because I am setting up the road to Christmas on Elm Street, which is going to be our next network special. And originally plan was to recap Black Lake tonight and then do a kickoff show, the main thrust of the special on Sunday, the long review of recap of movie, and then do post show. But then I thought, that's a lot of time to devote to anything. And as cool as an idea as it was, I found last time it might have worked better if I split them out. So the kickoff show, for that better word, is going to be today, or tomorrow in your case, which is Friday, 21st December. The main show is going to be on the 22nd, on the 23rd even, on Sunday, the main recap, and then post show is going to be next Friday. See what that works. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. I might change up for next time because obviously there are going to be more network specials, but those announcements will come next week. Anyway, this is Friday Night Shudder, and essentially my year end to date recap is going to start in just a few minutes. But first, for the penultimate time, here's Somebody Holly. So essentially, yes, this is going to be another recap episode, but of the podcast in general. I know I sort of did something like this in the 10th episode Spectacular, but I figured that I'd do not it again per se, but just sort of discuss the podcast in general. We're up to 755 hits and second podcast special as of time for recording this, and that's blown my mind. I know obviously the next aim is 1,000 hits overall, and that's something I'm definitely going to achieve. Don't think by the end of the year. I'm hoping for 800 by 31st December. I think that's doable with all the stuff that we've got going on. But yeah, it's a good reach. It's been a long year for yours truly. Some parts were amazing, some parts weren't. Obviously, I don't really want to go into specifics, but as of now, it's been a really good year, and this podcast has been responsible for a lot of that. Obviously, I'd say obviously a lot. You've been listening recently, and you've seen me do more comic book stuff. I'm going to continue doing that, but on a separate podcast, Monday Night Crisis, when I can remember to log into the Anchor account for that. I don't feel necessarily that... I think having it on this podcast for ease is great for me, but at the same time, it's kind of scuppering the market a little. Because you get weekly episodes, and then you get those, and it's sort of like what's weekly and what's not. Season 2 is going to change with that, but I'll get into that next week with the post-show. But for now, I think roughly how to describe this year. Crazy busy. Since I started this podcast in August, I've been almost constantly knackered. I mean, it's a lot of work doing a podcast, obviously, as he keeps saying. It's a lot of work. It's very tiring. There's always got to be an episode every Friday, which is quite daunting sometimes. So I'm going to turn this the anchor timer off, because when I see it, it just makes me conscious of the fact that I'm only a few minutes in and I got to fill out about 45 minutes of this shit. Yeah, it's really cool. I like the nature of podcasting and doing an episode a week. It's very tiring and very exhausting, but very cool at the same time. Essentially, it forces me to be creative in where I've not normally been creative in a long time, and also, about content each week. The need to do it overrides the fact that you don't necessarily always have an inclination. Like, I know there's going to be a lot of stuff, for example, Black Lake and Grave Encounters, which feel like drop plot threads, I guess. they'll be followed up on. I'll get back to them. I assure you I will. But right now, I feel like not every week needs to be devoted to that. I know it's people who really like Black Lake, I'm guessing, and want the recaps and all of that. But if I have desire to do it, it's going to be shit. Last week was fun because I just talked bollocks and drunk and talked about various people on Twitter, some of the awesome accounts and some of them followed me, which is pretty cool. And obviously the Oz podcast, but predominantly when getting an episode like that, if I'm not getting some enjoyment out of one watching, it feels pointless. And I'm also sure that some of you want me to go back to doing what it's doing for 8 Encounters, where I was making notes and then talking loosely about the scenes and sequences, not recapping it live. And I do understand that, because recapping stuff live-ish, it's very difficult. You miss a fair bit. You can't pause and write down your thoughts. It's stream consciousness. And I actually think I'm pretty good at it. I do think that I'm pretty good at that, and riffing on the fly. But sometimes it does get quite exhausting. And especially stuff like Black Lake, which is quite dense, it can be quite tiring to sort out, because you're trying to go through specifics, and in foreign language stuff you at least get the subtitles. It's just you do miss out on bits here and there. It's not that I don't like Black Lake, by the way, I do. It's just that it's tough to sit through sometimes every week, and that's something I'll be getting into slightly later in actually this podcast. I think next week, but in this one, because forcing yourself to watch stuff you don't want to watch after a long day of work can be... You can't always do it. I'm sorry, I know it's shit. No, I got 6 episodes in Black Lake and I've stopped. And I'm pretty much being honest with you guys, and I'm not going to get back to it to at least New Year, and given my schedule probably for a while longer than that. And I have to enjoy it. This podcast should be fun. And that's fundamentally what I would say to anyone who won't make a podcast. It has to be fun. You can't do it if you're not enjoying it. You got to change up. That's why I'll do often a spectacular or a recap of my life or a recap of a fictional movie. And that's it. In that point, Let's Make a Movie was probably the most fun I've had doing this podcast, and I'd love to do more of them. But it's got to be moderation. Because I think if you try doing that this week, you'd run into the same trap, of not having enough to say. And that's obviously something I'm cognitive of. If I don't have something to say, it's going to be shit. But that was, for me, the Let's Make a Movie was the most fun one I've done. And I'll definitely be going back to that. I've actually scheduled the next one. I think that'll be a nice way to break up some of the content for next year. So have the Let's Make a Movies every now and again. This podcast isn't going to get 45 minutes, by the way. I think that's very unlikely, but I'm just going to talk anyway. So, what have I been up to recently in terms of horror? Not much. I've been watching Sweeney Todd a lot, the John Depp version. I don't know why. First time watching, I wasn't really a huge fan of it, but I've watched it again on Netflix the other day, and I don't know, maybe it's just watching movies at the right time, but it's such a great story, and the depth and characters and songs are very cool. I got an Amazon Echo Free with my BT resubscription, and that had Amazon Music, not included, but they said get that free, so I got that. So I've just been listening to the Sweeney Todd soundtrack, the movie, and the 2021 to Broadway, and the old version with Angela Lansbury, and that old version's amazing. And I think nice about stuff like Sweeney Todd is, especially the way everything's going on Earth at the moment with America and all that, it's nice to escape to a movie which it's just about capitalism. And actually that's something I'm going to bring up later. I'm going to bring up now instead of later. This is the penultimate episode of Friday Night Shudder. Now I'm sure you're probably thinking, but you said you had content for next year, and I do. This podcast is continuing, and we're not rebooting anything. We're keeping continuity, keep what we've done, but it's changing names to Friday Night Fright. And the reason for that, and I just want to say, Shudder's been amazing, very supportive, and I'm going to continue to recap as much as I can off their movies list and TV show list. We're not changing that. The reason for becoming Friday Night Fright is to not limit what I can watch, and I don't mean to say anything untoward about Shudder because their selection's brilliant. But I found a couple of times that I've not had the desire to watch anything on their product, and I've had to make episodes with a few gimmicks to be able to make a podcast each week. And it certainly don't mean that I don't want to have to do that all the time, but I will sometimes get to Friday and think, right, I don't want to watch Black Lake, so I have to figure out something to do because this podcast, the wheel keeps on turning. And to that end, at the same point, I start thinking I want Review Handball, and then season 1 and season 2 and season 3, and then it's told me, well, why not do it? That's what I want to do. I should do it. And instead of getting upset with Shudder for not having some of this stuff on their platform, because I understand how it works, I should adapt, I should do other stuff. And that's one thing for next year, which I'll get more into in next week's podcast with specifics for next year, because I've got a structure of episodes already set out. But this will be changing Friday Night Fright. The comic book reviews won't be happening anymore. But Friday Night Fright would become slightly different. It's going to be a better structure each week. I'm going to try and get more in advance. At the same time, everything said about Shudder and Friday Night Shudder is true, but the other truth is that I start noticing with the Angry Video Game Nerd, he started as the Angry Nintendo Nerd, and then he's dwarfed into video games in total. I'm doing the same thing for horror. Shudder would be very much a part of the show. I want to support it and constantly go and recap stuff from them. I think I'm just going to say it. Grave Encounters is going to be recapped next year, and Triangle, and Society. They're all on Shudder, so it's going to be as much as possible. Yeah, at the same time, it's going to give me wider reach of what I can recap, and also what I'm allowed to, because I love doing limitless reviews, but part of me's thinking, well, why not just incorporate them into the actual podcast, Like, if a good horror movie comes out on Friday, I can see it, I can recap it for you guys, and not have to do an extra review, because I'm also conscious of the fact that I'm recapping a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think 1 week episode would be a truer indication of how many people listen a week, rather than 3 or 4, not all the time. Obviously, network specials. The network specials are the other thing. If I'm going to be recapping stuff like Halloween, which isn't on UK Shudder, it's like, it's cheating. So there's nothing. But I do want to point out Shudder's been amazing, and you really should support them. They're a brilliant app. They're really, really good. And I've had so much fun recapping it. I've had a lot of fun recapping Black Lake until last week, in which point I lost interest a bit. But it happens, It's, and also, down the line, I want to do merch and stuff like that, and you can't really license merch with Friday Night Shudder on, because Shudder, I don't want to step on their toes, Anyway, so there's that. To recap my year as a whole, podcast wise, 10th episode spectacular, I think nailed it. I still am going to do Zombie Flesh Eaters 2. I'm looking forward to that. But part of me is very nostalgic for Zombie Flesh Eaters 1, because that first episode was complete, pure adrenaline. I didn't know anyone's going to listen. I didn't know it's going to get any hits. And that episode, 67 hits, which blows my mind. Like, still, the most popular episode was about zombie flesh eaters. Zombies. And I haven't gone back to zombies since, except for VHS 2. Like, it blows my mind, but that's part of the nature of this. You move so quickly, you don't get to think, hey, zombies are part of the market. Maybe. So that's what cracks me up about this podcast, because really, logically, I should do more and more zombie stuff, but it just hasn't come up in neat content. I've just gone through everything, said more zombies. So season 2 is going to need more zombies. Incidentally, season 2 is going to consist of 52 episodes plus weekly ones, one a week, no matter what, plus the 5 specials. I keep going on to that, so I keep forgetting my point. So, to let everyone know, this Sunday I'm going to be recapping the Wes Craven classic A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I can't wait. I had so much fun doing the Halloween one, more fun than you should be allowed to have, and I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. I think best thing I've ever done for this podcast is the Let's Make a Movie, but Halloween, oh wow. You know, that's actually a lifetime achievement, because that weekend I was knackered and I swore that I would get ahead of myself with this podcast, and I didn't do it. Life moves too quickly to get ahead, to be honest. You know, you try and try, but not always going to succeed. I do think I did a great job with it. I think there's parts I could have improved. I think like I said earlier, 3 episodes in one weekend, in one evening was a lot. And I think I would have got more hits with one. I really do. I think if you can promote one specifically, you'll get more hits than if you do a bunch. So that one's going up 8 p.m. GMT time on Sunday. So, normally I post them at like this one will go up first thing midnight on 00:00 on Friday, so it'll go up then. And it's going to be a short episode. I think I'm going to struggle to get a half an hour. Not in a bad way, but just in that. That's nothing. Next year's going to be more tightly structured. Nature of it, I won't get into to next week, to be honest. But it's going to be more a case of better structure, for that of a better term. So I won't be able to tell you exactly how long the episodes will be, but there'll be a consistent-ish length each week. It's quite a cool idea, actually. It's a nice structure which gives more room to breathe. So, what other stuff, really? I'm crazy, really, because I'm not even sure exactly what to talk about. I've got such grand plans for next year, but that should be next year's one. We know what? I'm going to do something different this week. This is going to be the episode, to be honest. It's not going to be a long episode. I feel I beat myself up every week to go for exactly an hour's length, but this is pretty much a kickoff show for Nightmare on Elm Street. So I'm just going to do a quick recap of like my love for the movie, I guess, before I go into recapping it. I love this movie. I saw it at Prince Charles this year? Jesus, must have been. And it blew me away. Like, I'm obviously going to recap it and post it on Sunday, or Saturday for me, Sunday for you, but I love this movie. It's really, really good. Seeing it with an audience was mind-blowing, and the nature of it's mind-blowing. I mean, this is a classic, iconic movie, and the chance to recap it for you guys is just, oh man, it's proof that if you push, you can live your dreams, and at the same time, do a really short episode. So, I know it's not a long recap this year, but I'd like to say thank you to everyone for listening to it. We have much better things for next year. The transition in Friday Night Fright is going to be mind-blowing. So many cool things happening next year. And this is just a short video saying thank you for listening to this podcast, and I hope you enjoy the recap of A Nightmare on Elm Street on Sunday. It's a brilliant movie, and this is the start of the yearly tradition. So until Sunday, I'd just like to say, remember, life is beautiful. So that wasn't a very long episode, and like last time it wasn't a very long episode, I'm a bit disappointed because I try and get as close to 45 minutes to an hour as possible, and I'm thinking like last time this happened, the only solution that I can think of is to read some of American Psycho. So here goes. I'm going to read the opening of American Psycho. Abandon all hope ye who enter here is scrawled in blood red lettering on side of the chemical bank near the corner of 11th and 1st, and is in print large enough to be seen from the backseat of the cab as it lurches forward in traffic leaving Wall Street. And just as Timothy Price notices the words, a bus pulls up. The advertisement for Les Miserables on his side blocking his view, but Price is with Pierce, and 26 doesn't seem to care because he tells driver will give him $5 to turn up radio, Be My Baby on WYNN, and driver black non-American does so. Oh my god, I forgot how much I hate this book and love it at the same time. I'm resourceful, Price is saying. I'm creative, I'm young, unscrupulous, highly motivated, highly skilled. In essence, what I'm saying is that society cannot afford to lose me. I'm an asset. Price is an asshole. Price calms down, continues to stare out the cab's dirty window, probably at the word fear sprayed in red graffiti on the side of a McDonald's on 4th and 7th. I mean, the fact remains that no one gives a shit about their work. Everybody hates their job. I hate my job. You've told me you hate yours. What do I do? Question mark. Go back to Los Angeles? Question mark. Not an alternative. I didn't transfer from UCLA to Stanford to pull up this. I mean, am I alone in thinking we're not making enough money? Question mark. Like in a movie, another bus appears, another poster for Les Miserables replaces the word, not the same bus because someone's written word dyke over Eponine's face. Tim blurts out, I have a co-op here, I have a place in the Hamptons, for Christ's sake. Parents, Guy, it's the parents. I'm buying it from them. Will you fucking turn this up? He snaps, but distractedly at the driver. The crystal still blaring from radio. It don't go up no higher, maybe driver says. What do you mean maybe driver says? He says that he doesn't. It's not showing in his cab. Timothy ignores him, but irritably continues. I could stay living in this city if they just installed blood pumps in the cabs. Maybe ODM3 or ORC2 dynamic tuning systems, question mark. His voice softens here. Either one, hip, my friend, very hip. He takes off the expensive looking Walkman from round his neck, still complaining. I hate to complain, I really do. Pause, quote. I don't believe him, I think he loves to complain. Resume quote, about the trash, the garbage, the disease, about how thief this city really is, and you know and I know that it is a sty. He continues talking as he opens his new to-me calfskin attaching case he brought at D.F. Sanders. He places the Walkman in case alongside the Panasonic wallet-sized cordless portable folding ESA phone. Brackets, he used to own the NET 9000 portable. No one gives a shit, Brett. No one cares. And pulls out today's newspaper. In one issue. Let's see here, ... Strangled models, babies thrown from tenement rooftops, kids killed in subway, a communist rally, mafia boss wiped out, Nazis. Is it all about them or now? Who knows? He flips through pages excitedly. Baseball players with AIDS, more mafia shit, gridlock, the homeless, various maniacs. The F word, the slur F word, dropping like flies in the streets, surrogate mothers, the cancellation for soap opera. Oh no, soap opera got cancelled. Kids who broke into a zoo and tortured and burned various animals alive. More Nazis, ... And joke is, punchline is, it's all in the city. No, it's just here, it sucks. Whoa, wait, more Nazis, gridlock, baby sellers, black market babies, AIDS babies, junkies, boom collapses on baby maniac, baby gridlock, brig collapses. Oh my god, that rang on a long time and went nowhere. His voice stops. He takes in a breath and then quietly says, his eyes fixed on a beggar on the corner of 2nd and 5th, that's the 24th one I've seen today. I've kept count. Then asks without looking over, why aren't you wearing the worsted navy blue blazer with the grey pants, question mark. Bryce is wearing a 6-button Walton suit shirt by Ermengido Zegna, a cotton shirt with French cuffs by Ike Bihar, a Ralph Lauren suit, tie and leather wing tips by Fratelli Rossetti. Downton Post. There's a moderately interesting story, I don't think that's true, okay, concerning 2 people who disappeared at a party aboard the yacht of a semi-noted New York socialite while a boat was circling the island. A residue of spattered blood and 3 smashed champagne glasses are the only clues. Foul play suspected, and police think that perhaps a machete was killer's weapon because of certain groups and indentations found on deck. No bodies have been found. There are no suspects. Bryce began his spiel today over lunch and then brought up again during the squash game and continued ranting over drinks at Harry's, where he'd gone on over 3 J&Bs of water, much more interestingly about the Fisher account than Paul Owen's handing. Bryce would not shut up. "Diseases!" he exclaims, his face tense with pain. There's this theory now that if you can catch the AIDS virus through having sex with someone who's infected, then you can also catch anything, whether it's a virus per se or not. Alzheimer's, muscular dystrophy, haemophilia, leukemia, anorexia, diabetes, cancer, multiple sclerosis, cystic fibrosis, cerebral palsy, dyslexia. For Christ's sake, you could get dyslexia from pussy. I'm not sure, Guy, but I don't think dyslexia is a virus. Oh, who knows, ? They don't know that. Prove it. Oh, my head, the 80s was such a fucked up time. Outside this camp, on sidewalks, black and bloated pigeons fight over scraps of hot dogs in front of Gray's papaya, while transvestites idly look on and a police car cruises silently the wrong way down one-way street. And the sky's low and grey and cabinets stopped in traffic across Miss One. A guy who looks a lot like Lewis Carruthers waves over at Timothy, and when Timothy doesn't return wave, the guy's slick black hair, suspenders, horn-rimmed glasses, realises it's not who he thought it was and looks back at his copy of USA to say, "Holy shit, why is his sentences run on so much?" Panning down to the sidewalk, there's an ugly old homeless back lady holding a whip, and she cracks at the pigeons who ignore it as they continue pecking by hungrily over the remains of hot dogs, and police car disappears into an underground parking lot. Is Patrick high? But then when you've just come to the point when your reaction to the times is one total and sheer acceptance, when your body has become some tuned into insanity, and you reach that point where it all makes sense when you clicks, we get some crazy fucking homeless N-word who actually wants, "Listen to me, Bateman, wants to be out on the streets, those streets, see those," he points, and we have a mayor who won't listen to her, a mayor who won't let the bitch have her way. Holy Christ, the fucking bitch freeze to death, put her out of her goddamn own misery. Look, your battery started, confused fuck. Number 24, note 25, who's gonna be Evelyn's ? Wait, let me guess, he holds up hand attaching an impeccable manicure. Ashley Courtney, Moodwing, Marina Charles, am I right so far ? Made one of Evelyn's artiste friends, from, oh my god, the East Village, you know the type, ones who asked Evelyn if she has a nice dry white mush Chardonnay. He slaps hand over his forehead as I'm doing and shuts his eyes and now Mark's George glance. "I'm leaving, I'm dumping Meredith, she's essentially there with me to like her, I'm gone, why did it take me so long to realise she has all personality of a goddamn game host ? 26, 27. I mean, I tell her I'm sensitive. I told her I was freaked out by Chancellor Aston. What more does she want ? I'm ethical, tolerant. I mean, I'm extremely satisfied with my life. I'm optimistic about the future. I mean, aren't you ? Sure, but all I get is this shit from her. 28, 29, holy shit, it's goddamn cluster of bombs, I tell you. He stops suddenly as if exhausted, turned away from another advertisement for Les Miserables, remembering something important, asked, "Did you read about hosting that game show on TV? ? You killed 2 teenage boys. Depraved F word. Droll, really droll." Bryce waits for reaction. There is none. Certainly up West Side. He takes the drive and stop on the corner of 81st and Riverside. Once Sixth Street doesn't go right way. "Don't bother going about," Bryce begins. "Maybe I'd go other way around," cab driver says. "Do not bother." Then barely inside, teeth grins, unsmiling, fucking nitwit. The driver brings the cats to a stop. 2 cats behind the cab both blare their horns and move on. "Should we bring flowers ? Nah. Hey, you're banging up, Bateman. Why should we get everything flowers? You better have change for 50. He warns driver, squinting at red numbers on the meter. "Damn it, steroids!" "Sorry, I'm tense." Thought you're off them. I was getting acne on my legs and arms and UV bath wasn't fixing it. So I started going to a tanning salon instead and got rid of it. Jesus, Bateman, you see how ripped my stomach is. The definition? Completely buffed out. He says in a distant, odd way while waiting for the driver to hand him change. Ripped! I love that book. It is so batshit insane. You know, I really want to read the entire book of American Psycho. I tell you what, I guarantee you, if I get Patreon, I'll do a recap of that book. That's my guarantee for next year. When I set that up, that's because as much as I mock that, I have really a lot of fun doing that. And for short episodes, it's a lifesaver because now I've got over 30 minutes. And I feel bad because I feel disappointed that I did a really short episode, but sometimes it just happens, you know? Anyway, tune in for Christmas on the Street on Sunday. You won't be disappointed. Until then, I'll see you next week on Friday Night Shudder. I do Life's a Beautiful Thing, but I've already done that. So, see you in a few days.